It's my book release day! Sexting works for everybody, works for every sexual orientation, works for various stages of relationship, communication frequency, like what would make you happy, what do you enjoy, what do you like, what's your preference. Second, sexual frequency, what do you enjoy, what do you like, what's your preference. There's no real rules for any human relationships as long as two people agree to it and they're happy about it. Through the training, I learned that BDSM is actually very complex, and to do it correctly and to really reap the benefits from like real actual BDSM, you have to educate yourself. The more you become sexually educated, the more liberated, confident, sexy you are. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to Love Bites by Dr. Tara podcast, where we talk about all things sex, love, relationship, dating. Today is a special episode. It's a solo episode of me answering all of your questions from Instagram and YouTube. Also, it is the biggest day of my life, guys. Dun, 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 dun. It's my book release day. So my book, How Do You Like It? A Guide for Getting What You Want in Bed, is now out in the world. I gave birth to this book. And this book is the book that every single human should have. And I'm not saying it because I wrote it, but a little bit. But I'm saying it is because we did not get the sex education we deserve, right? Most of us kind of just stumble upon dating, try to learn as we go, learn from experiences. We don't know how to actually engage in a healthy sex life. We don't know how to engage with things like ethical porn, how to make sure that, sex toys are not ruining your relationship, how to start dirty talking in a more confident way. First off, like, who am I even as a sexual person, right? Like, if someone asks you, if I ask you, who are you as a sexual being? Can you describe yourself as a lover in bed in 3 words, right? Most people cannot describe their sexual self because they don't know who they are sexually, because it's just, we were never taught. Although a healthy sex life can literally change your entire life. A healthy sex life contributes to, you have better skin, better hair, better sleep, better relationship, more laughter, more serotonin, you're happier, better relationships in general, you make more money. Like, I swear, ever since I started prioritizing my sex life, I have been making way more money and have way more business opportunities because I just exude different energy, because I am sexually fulfilled, and I want that for everybody. I wrote this book because when I was 18 years old or 21 years old, I mean, let's be real, like even when I was 28 years old, okay, I was still like just stumbling around, like didn't really know how to have a great sex life. And that's why I wrote this book. Understand your sexual self better. Want to have better skills in pleasuring your partner, in experiencing more pleasure for yourself, in communicating with your partner about sex and kinks. This is the book that you must have. So definitely check out How Do You Like It? A Guide for Getting What You Want in Bed, anywhere you get your books. Audiobook is out as well. So if you love listening to books, there's also audiobooks. Now, today, I'm going to be answering a lot of questions that I get from you guys on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok. So let's start with the first question. My wife is afraid of starting the whole sex thing and also don't know what to do. What do I do? How do we start? Sexting is so much fun, and research found that sexting is actually a great thing to do in a relationship. It enhances the relationship. Research found that people who sext more in their long-term relationships have higher relationship satisfaction and sexual satisfaction. So I highly recommend, if you have never sexted before, start learning more about how to sext responsibly and how to sext more effectively, like what you can actually say, what you can actually send. I mean, there's various things you can send. You can send photos, videos, memes, clips of like other videos online. And you can obviously send like text messages that are hot and sexy. When it comes to the text messages, like if you want to sext, there's various levels. There's like mild, moderate, like super spicy, super hot, super kinky. So it just depends. Like, if you want to text mild, you can say something like, thinking about you, what are you wearing? Right? Or you can text, last night was so hot, I can't forget it. Right? Like you're not saying anything, outside the norm per se, or something that's like derogatory, you know what I mean? Like you're just reminiscing the last time. Or maybe it's about the future. Can't wait for you to see my lingerie tonight, right? Like you can insinuate about the future and make it exciting for something your partner can look forward to. So that's like more mild. You can do spicier. You can say, thinking of you and I want to start touching myself, right? Like that's a little bit spicier. Again, there's no like derogatory terms. There's no, something raunchy, but just like insinuating that your partner turns you on even when they're not around. But then you can also go really, really spicy, right? You can also like sext your partner and go, can't wait to have your cock down my throat tonight, right? Or vice versa. Like if you're a man and texting your woman, or a man and texting your male partner, or whatever. There's sexting works for everybody, works for every sexual orientation, works for various stages of relationship. Even if you're in early dating, after dating for 6 months, or even if you've been together for 10 years, 15, 20 years, like you can start sexting anytime at any levels. If you want to learn more about sexting and like the different methods that are effective for sexting, get How Do You Like It, the book, because I have a whole part of the chapter that talks about various types of sexting and why they're effective. Next is, I have a small penis, 4-inch erect. What are the best thing I can do to satisfy a woman in bed? Stimulate her mind. Women are so turned on when their mind is stimulated. They would get wet without you touching them. Without you touching any of their erogenous areas or their genital, they would get wet if their mind is stimulated. And there's various ways to stimulate the mind, right? But it's the whole day thing. When people say like foreplay all day, like it's true, right? Foreplay isn't like make out with me for 5 minutes and insert your penis. Like that, it doesn't work that way. Foreplay is like an all day thing. Maybe it starts with, waking up saying, good morning, you look so beautiful, right? Maybe it's let me make you coffee. Maybe it's text messages during the day saying like you miss them, you're thinking about them, you're thinking about maybe the last thing that they wore, like still lingers in your mind, right? Something like that. But ultimately, what you want to achieve is you want to make them feel like you're consistently thinking about them and you desire them and you worship them. People love when their partner shows that they adore them, right? They just want to feel desired. Wouldn't you say so? Do you like feeling extremely desired by someone? Of course you do. It's like human nature. Everyone wants to feel extremely desired by someone, right? Like by their partner, someone that they love. So I would say, if you have a small penis, like stimulating the woman's mind it's huge. But now let's talk technique, right? Once you're in bed, like what can you do? There are various things that you can do to help a woman orgasm multiple times. She can have multiple orgasms even before you pull out your penis. You can lick her nipples, learn how to massage and stimulate the nipple correctly, and she can have nipple-gasm. You can use your hand and tongue and pleasure her clitoris, and you can give her clitoral orgasm. You can learn how to finger really well, and you can give her squirting orgasm. And there's so many more types of orgasm. And again, I don't want to say this too many times, but if you get my book, How Do You Like It? A Guide for Getting What You Want in Bed, which exists everywhere on the internet, there are so many types of orgasms and how to get there in the book. Anyways, back to small penis, how to pleasure a woman. I just told you so many different ways. And ultimately, when you penetrate, just remember that the woman's G-spot isn't necessarily that deep. Like the woman's G-spot is only a couple of inches inside her vagina. So when there's, an 8-inch penis or like 10-inch penis in porn, that's really like for show. It's like not necessarily needed it's not necessary in general for an orgasmic experience, okay? Like, let's just say that. Like, it's a myth. Now, are there size queens? Yes, there are. There are women that go, I'm a size queen. I only sleep with men with 8 inches. And that's fine. And that's not your person. That's not your girlfriend. If someone says that, then that's not your partner. So, move on and find someone that would appreciate all the things that you can do for her, even outside the bedroom and inside the bedroom, even without the penis, and then with the penis. Next question. Explain your journey as someone who is ethically non-monogamous. Ever since I started dating in my teenage years, I have always been someone that loves connecting with multiple people. And I love them. When I love someone, I love them. I truly love them, and I will take care of them, and I will drop everything and go to them if they need help. But I understood my tendency ever since I was young that, like, why am I always interested and connected with quite a few people at a time? But I just sort of, follow the social norms of having one partner at a time, and just did that throughout my 20s. Now, in my late 20s, I started learning about ethical non-monogamy, open relationships, polyamory, and just different types of relationships that's not monogamy. Monogamy, for those listening and watching, if you've never heard of the term monogamy means having one partner and one sexual partner throughout the duration of your relationship, okay? So no threesomes, no sex parties, no exception. Like one sexual partner forever, until your relationship ends. Now, non-monogamy is everything else, right? Ethical non-monogamy means that you and your partner agree on different configurations of how you would like to do ethical non-monogamy. It's so freeing to me, because you can talk about any configuration. It's kind of like going into a restaurant and there's a menu, and you just select the items on the menu and you talk to your partner if they want it too. And then that's your relationship, right? It's like ordering like different things at off the menu a la carte. The journey has been long and hard because I was first married in my 20s with my first husband, and even though we had talked a little bit about non-monogamy, he wasn't really necessarily someone that I can see myself being in an E&M, ethical non-monogamy, with. So we got a divorce, and that was extremely painful. I had a lot of shame about that divorce. I worked on myself a lot to overcome that shame and to become confident again. So I completely understand if you're listening and watching and you're like going through a divorce or have gone through it. Like, I know exactly how that feels. There's a lot of mixed feelings, right? Like shame, sadness, anger, excitement, like all the things. Anyways, when I met my now husband, Brent, we've first started, like, I told him about non-monogamy. Like, I told him, like, hey, I'm interested in like being in more of an ethical non-monogamy or like open relationship. And we started the relationship that way. So it is easier to transition into like the variations of non-monogamy. Like, there was a time where we didn't sleep with anybody at all. Anybody else except us, right? So even though we were non-monogamous, we had a streak of just being with each other for a while. But then we started up again the ability to engage sexually with other people responsibly, right? Like, we have rules, like we must use condoms every time. We have to communicate with our partner, like with my husband. We have to communicate every time, like, who we're seeing, and like who they are, what their background is. Because ultimately, like, in doing ethical non-monogamy, you need to respect your primary partner's feelings and their boundaries. So I'm pointing this way as in like my husband's here, but he's not. So we talked through it, of what it could look like. And for me, it's like, if I'm out of town, if I'm out of the country, I can feel free to explore or sexplore. I can feel free to sexplore as long as I tell him like who the guy is or the woman, and who they are, like what their background is, and like not in detail about the type of sex we have, but like, just confirming or affirming that I'm like using a condom, I'm being careful, and things like that, because we care about each other's well-being. Like we want to make sure that our partners are like safe and are being taken care of, like is well taken care of by the other person. And he does the same thing. Like if he goes and if he sleeps with another woman, like he tells me who that woman is, tells me a background about her. And usually I'm quite excited about the woman he sees, because he's very picky and has very high standards and always attracted to interesting intellectual women. So I'm always interested in who he's seeing. So that's our journey. It is hard. It's still like, it keeps going. It keeps evolving. And if there's new scenario, we have to talk again about like the rules and what should we do now. I told him, for example, like if he sees a woman that has kids, like that's going to be complicated because, he has me, like he's married to me. But then if a woman that he's seeing or dating outside of our marriage, like has kids, like that would be like more explanations for the kids. So that would be harder. So we should talk about it. Like if that ever comes across, but he hasn't been dating anybody that in the arena of like women that have kids. So that hasn't come up. But yeah, just to show you guys in a very transparent way that like it's a journey. Like you're just always talking about things. But that's why our communication is like 10 out of 10. It is seriously 10 out of 10. Bren and I, my husband and I, have the best communication. I have had so many relationships in my life. I've had more than like 20 relationships. And this is the best communication relationship I have ever been in, because we're both comfortable with each other. We trust each other deeply. We trust that we want the best for each other and we would never disrespect each other. So we always communicate upfront about everything, which is like awesome. And whenever we have a conflict, we always spend time like talking things out. I think the cool thing is also my partner is very patient and I'm very reasonable. So I think when we talk, even though like emotions can run high, we tend to always go back to being grounded and like, let's just figure it out, which is an amazing thing to have in a life partner. And I mean, this will be my forever life partner and we'll be doing ethical non-monogamy forever. So I'm just really happy that I found someone that accepts me for who I am, that, also participates in the same lifestyle. Now, when people say like, okay, like I'm interested in E&M, but I'm not sure if I can do it, I always explain to people, and this is my version of it, and my book talks a lot more about like my relationship, my past life, my past relationships and the future, about being monogamish or non-monogamous. But when people ask me that, I often explain, and this is controversial, but I often say like, I think being non-monogamous is almost like a sexual orientation. It's like, it's either you have it or you don't. It's like you're gay or you're not, right? And maybe you're fluid, and that's totally fine too. But it's like, if you're completely not a non-monogamous person, but you try to be, I feel like it's just really hard. Like if you're completely monogamous, one-man person, it's totally fine, and you can have a very beautiful, loving relationship too. Like everyone can have a beautiful, loving, sexy, passionate relationship if they work on it, right? Whether it's non-monogamous or monogamous. Next question. How can I tell my partner what I like when it's different from what he's doing without offending? I love like the media method. And what that means is like referring to a media that you just watched or saw or heard or read. Instead of saying something that, that he's doing something that you don't like, you don't need to even say it. Just say what you like, he will do that. Like automatically, people, when you tell them, oh, you love this feels good and you love this, they will automatically do more of that. Like they won't try to do stuff that you're like, never praise him about it, right? So first off, stop praising him for things that if you actually don't like them, so you don't give mixed signals. Then the media method, basically you would say, oh, I read this book and it says like doing this technique is really, really good and I want us to try it because I feel like I would just like come really hard, right? Oh, of course, his ears will be perked up and he will want to try, because you saying I would I think I would come really hard from it is like music to his ears. So just refer out to like a third party, like a media, right? Like I read this book, or I listened to this podcast and I heard about this, or I saw in a magazine article about this and I like really want you to do it, or really want us to try it. And that way you're not the one, saying I want this, right? Like it's just, I read it and it's so interesting and I want us to try it, right? It's not like I want this, you have been doing things that I don't like. Like you don't need any of that language really. You can just refer to the media that you saw or heard or read and then just say that you want to try it and that you feel like it would make you come really hard, and your partner will automatically want to try it with you. Next question. I get more turned on giving a girl oral more than receiving. Is that common? It is. I think it's very common. I mean, obviously, a lot of guys like receiving blowjobs, but at the same time, I know so many men that tell me, like my clients, my friends, my students, my, so many people that I come across that say like, oh, I get a lot of pleasure from giving her oral pleasure, like from going down on her. Some men will, have a flaccid penis, go down on a woman, and then have an erect penis, right? Like he gets hard, he's turned on. So I think it's a lot more common than you guys think. Next is, what's a good pace for dating or sex when you really like someone? I think it's any pace that you can get on the same page on. Sexual frequency, desire, or like how many times a week you want to have sex, or how many times a week you want to see each other. It's so subjective. It like just really depends on the person. Like I'm someone that I love being collectivistic. Like I love being together. To me, it's not a distraction. Like I can work really hard, have my 5 jobs. You guys know me. Like I have so many jobs, and still like be with the person like in the room. Like I'm someone that like that. But I also know a friend, like one of my best friends, he has he went on a date with someone, and they have been dating for a few months, and his partner, the person he went on a date with, like started texting him every morning, and he's like, oh, this is so annoying. And to me, it's like, oh, it's so sweet. So like it just really depends. Like everything depends on the two people combined, like together, like what are their preferences. That's why talking about preferences in everything is so important. And I don't care if it's a new relationship or if you've been together 10 years. If you've never talked about like desired frequency on things, you should. First off, like communication frequency, like what would make you happy, what do you enjoy, what do you like, what's your preference. Second, sexual frequency, what do you enjoy, what do you like, what's your preference. Dating, if you're in a new relationship or you're just met someone and you're like in the dating phase, like how often in a week would you prefer to meet each other, how much alone time do you need, right? Like all of these expectations or preferences should be communicated. Then your relationships will be like smooth sailing. My husband and I talk about expectations all the time. And also the other people that I see in my E&M relationship, I talk about expectations with them all the time. Next, I have a huge spit kink. I love to spit on the face with verbal degradation. I love to be spat on. Is something wrong? Not at all. It's just a kink. I think a lot of people like spit. I think they find it like taboo, unconventional, and kind of like a bad thing to do traditionally. So it's like even more of a turn on. So you're completely normal and fine, and there's nothing wrong with you. But just make sure that you communicate with your partner before you spit on them, because some people really don't like it. Personally, I don't like spit. Like personally, I don't like someone spitting on me. I don't mind spitting on someone if that turns them on. And if they were like, and if they request it, if they go like, spit on me, baby, I'll spit on them. But I don't like being spat on. I've tried before. Someone spat on me before. And I'm like, oh, that did not turn me on at all. Next question. What are some kinks that you enjoy, and how was it trying them out at first? Well, I have a fingering kink, as in like I come really hard by getting fingered properly by someone who's really good at fingering. Like I would squirt every time, and it's like one of the best feelings in the world for me. So that's one. I also like getting my toes like played with and sucked. I think there's a lot of nerve endings in the feet and the toes, and I think it's like a very much a turn on because it's a taboo, right? Like our feet are on the floor. So it's supposed to be quote unquote dirty, right? But like when someone put it in their mouth, I think it shows like devotion and shows how much they're into me. And I think that's really hot. And that's a kink. Another kink is getting tied up. So I tried shibari, and when I tried it for the first time, it was extremely transformative. I cried for 5 minutes straight afterwards because I've just never felt like that before. And it's so hard to describe until you guys try it. Shibari is the like Japanese art of rope bondage. So I get like roped up. My whole body got roped up and suspended in the air. It felt like I could, even though I couldn't move like an inch, I couldn't even move 1 centimeter, but it felt like I could relax, which is so weird to say because, you know, from the look of it, it doesn't look like I could relax because I get tied up everywhere and it's really tight. But, you know, as like a boss girl, right? Like I own a business, I'm a professor, I write books, I'm on TV, like I do so much and I'm always deciding, like I'm always making decisions. Shibari, or bondage, helped me feel more calm and helped me feel like I could take a step back, even for a little bit, even if it was just for an hour of session. I think the first time that I tried it was like 1 hour and it was a beautiful experience. I really loved that. Do Kegel weights work? How can you tell if you're gripping his penis when he's inside? Ooh, love this question. Yes, Kegel weights really work. Even just regular Kegels really work. Like I do them all the time. And for people that don't know what they are, it's when you like squeeze your like vagina like this. Like think of this is inside your vagina, right? This is your vaginal wall and it goes like this. It's kind of like when you stop peeing. But you do it more deliberately, right? Like I'm doing it right now. I'm gonna do 3. 1, 2, 3. Yep. So like doing this, contract your vagina. And it will help with your pelvic floor. A healthy pelvic floor is really, really important. You know, if you're listening and you're like 21 years old, like you might not think your pelvic floor is that important, but actually it helps women from every age. Like you can be in your 20s and you will feel like there's your vagina is stronger, that you have more control of your vagina. It also helps to orgasm. Like it helps people learn how to orgasm vaginally. For women that are older, it also will help with like, you know, when you go through like childbirth or when you get older and like through menopausal or perimenopausal, like Kegels is just great for you regardless of how old you are. And that's when you contract your vagina like this, like I love doing it. I do it like every day. Like I'm in the car just driving in LA and I'm just doing the and I try to do it like a few minutes. Like I'll play a song. Let's see, what song do I play when I do Kegels in the car? I think I play the My Type by Saweetie. And then I just do it by the beat. And it's really good. And now your next question was, how do I know if I'm gripping? Think of it this way. The feeling of it is just like your arm. Because again, your vagina is a muscle. Just like your hand gripping your arm. So try to hold your arm, right? And grip it. How does it feel in your hand? That's your vaginal wall, right? Like that's your vagina. How does it feel? And then the arm is the penis and it feels that way, right? You can also ask him, like when he's inside you, try to do the contractions and ask him, like, do you feel it? He will feel it 1000%. That's also a really good trick in inducing an orgasm when you have penetrative sex, like when he's inside you. Try to squeeze your vag, like contract, and it feels great for him. It helps him come faster. Helps him come like stronger, and it also helps you come, like it helps induce your orgasm. So yes, love Kegels, big fan. Next up is, why does my penis slip out easily at the slightest move my date does? Is she loose? No, it's not necessarily that she's loose. Like if she's really wet, it's just very slippery. Like, but if she's really wet, that's better news because it means that she's so turned on by you. Now, there are certain positions that the penis will slip out easier, and there are certain positions that you have more control. Like, if you want more control as the man, like you can try doggy, because then you can control how far she goes out, how far she comes in, right? Like you can control that length or how far the penis is outside of the vagina. If she's on all fours and you're holding her hips and you're doing the doggy, like, you know, you can control the penis to like not slip out. But there are positions that it will be easy to slip out. Like obviously, you know, missionary, right? Like you have control too, because you're the one moving your hip as a man. However, when you do move your hips in and out, it's harder to gauge, because like sometimes you're just super into it. You might pull out so far out that it like slips out, which is different than doggy, because you're controlling her hips and her body in and out of your penis, if you know what I mean. So different positions. Just try a position that you think you have most control of the penis staying inside the vagina, and just try using that position for a while. Can a loving poly couple stop being poly and still be in a healthy relationship? Why or why not? Wow. I think my answer is yes, but there is a but, big but. But I think if you identify as a poly person and it's truly, truly who you are, you will eventually want to go back to it. So you can try be monogamous, because maybe like situationally you need it. Like let's say if you're poly for a bit, but then you have a kid, like get pregnant and have a baby, you might want to try being monogamous for like at least a few years, establish your family foundation, and then re-establish your poly roots again. So I definitely think you can be in loving poly and loving monogamous and also go back. Like there's no real rules for any human relationships, as long as two people agree to it and they're happy about it. Okay, this girl said, I want to try rope bondage and BDSM with my husband, but don't know where to start. The first place to start is to read more about it, is to educate more about it, and even watch instructional porn about it. The more information you have, the more comfortable you will get in starting to try it. Don't try just to like do it haphazardly, because it's really dangerous. Like BDSM, there's a lot of like psychological frameworks that go into responsible actual BDSM. I actually recently trained with a professional dominatrix that has been in the industry for almost 30 years. And I trained with her and actually got a certificate. I became like a professional dominatrix. I mean, I'm not practicing it. I don't have, you know, a business for it. But through the training, I learned that BDSM is actually very complex, and to do it correctly and, you know, to really reap the benefits from like real actual BDSM, you have to educate yourself deeply. And the dominatrix that I trained with, her name is Mistress Damiana Chi. And I highly recommend if you like want to look into training with a dom. She trains a lot of women to become doms, and it's really fun. But you know, maybe you don't want to be a dom. Maybe you want to be a sub. Like, just make sure that you go online or learn about it, read about it, and watch some of the instructional porn on how to start, especially with rope. Like rope bondage is really fun. Like I just said, I tried shibari and I like cried for 5 minutes. It was amazing. But you need the instructions to feel more comfortable and confident in doing it and doing it right. Hi, Dr. Tara. I am having trouble finding a romantic partner. Any advice? Well, I would need to know more context in order to give advice specific to you personally. However, I hear this all the time. People saying it's so hard these days to date. Can't find a partner. Like, people just want to fuck around. I think there's some truth to it, but it's not all true when people say you just can't find any partner these days. Because my friends find partners all the time. And actually, I matchmade 2 of my friends. Okay. Shout out to Megan, one of my best friends. I matchmade her with her boyfriend now, Evan. I met Evan at a little story, guys. I met Evan at like this brunch party that my friend Laurel throws at her house in the Hollywood Hills. And I went to the brunch thing and met this guy, Evan. He was super cool. And, he works in TV. He's a TV producer. And we talked for a long time. And then I was like, you know what? My best friend Megan would love this guy. So I just asked him, like, are you single? And he goes, don't you have a husband? And I said, yes, I do. I'm asking for a friend. And he said, oh, yeah, I am. I'm actually like divorced, Anyways, fast forward like a month later, I invited both of them to dinner. We all went to dinner as a group and they've been together ever since. So that's another love story. And then another one is also one of my best friends. She's from China and she's a really lovely girl and also like a really cool streetwear influencer. Love her fashion style. I knew that one of Brent's friend, like my husband, one of his friends who is single would be like a really good match for her. So I actually invited both of them to my house party and then they started talking and they've been together ever since. So like all this to say, I think asking your friends and your loved ones to introduce you to someone might sound old school, but it really works because your best friends and your loved ones know you well and they will be able to gauge like who would be a good fit for you. So yeah, ask your friends, your best friends, your loved ones, your colleagues to match you. Like people that know you well, ask them to match you. Ask for their help. People in the past did it all the time. It's just nowadays we're like so individualistic, so self-sufficient. Like ask for help, guys. Okay, last question. How do I know what my partner likes or don't like in bed? Well, get this book, my book, How Do You Like It? A Guide for Getting What You Want in Bed, then you'll know. But basically, you have to talk about it, right? But sometimes people don't have the language to talk about it. Like I said at the beginning of the episode, like it's sometimes hard to say like what exactly you like in bed if you don't have the language to explain them. So in my book, I talk about sexual profile. And sexual profile is like your sex personality. It tells you the words like who you are in bed, right? For me, I am a dynamic lover. I'm a kinky lover. I'm a flexible lover, and I'm an animalistic lover. These are the 4 types that I am, like who I am as a lover in bed, as a sexual person. And these all mean something that I can now explain to my partner, my new partners, anyone I sleep with, like here, this is who I am, these are my preferences. Like I have the language for it. So definitely get the book, learn more about yourself, learn more about your partner or whoever you're dating, and just become a more confident lover, someone that can enjoy sex thoroughly, have pleasure, feel good, feel like a badass in bed. Because that's how I want you to feel. And I think that's the normal state that you should be able to feel. And I want you to feel it because I feel it. I have felt like many of you before. I have felt so anxious in bed, not knowing like, if I like what I really like, what my partner likes, if it was good for them, if it's good for me. Also fake an orgasm so many times, but not anymore. The more you become sexually educated, the more liberated, confident, sexy you are. So definitely learn more about sex and become the unstoppable you, the sexy you, the sexually powerful you. Okay, this was it for the end of the episode. Again, for my book, How Do You Like It? You can click the link in the episode description or get it at any bookstore that you use. You can get it on Amazon, you can get it at Barnes & Nobles or Waterstones or any bookstore, really. Or just click the link in my episode description or in the bio of my Instagram or TikTok. I love you guys. Thank you for listening and watching till the end of the episode. Thank you for subscribing, liking the episode, sharing the episode, and leaving a comment. I do this show for you guys and I want to move the cause of sex positivity forward. I want to help more people and I want all of us to have a beautiful, loving relationship and a great sex life. Love you guys. Have an orgasmic day. Bye.
Thanks for listening. This was Love Bites. Love Bites. By Dr. Tara. Follow Dr. Tara on social media at lovebites.co. Have an orgasmic day.